Hello and welcome to Behind the Woman. I'm your host, Dr. Johanna Rogers. Joining me on the couch this evening is the president of Impresia Bank, Mary Kate Loftus. We know it's nearly impossible to start a business without securing funds from a bank. Unfortunately, female entrepreneurs still face obstacles when it comes to acquiring loans and financial opportunities. At Impresia Bank, Mary Kate is working to address this issue. So gather your family, send a text to your friends, because you will not want to miss this episode of Behind the Woman.
This program is brought to you by the members of WCNY. Thank you. JP Morgan Chase is proud to be a corporate sponsor of Behind the Woman. JP Morgan Chase, building on investments and helping to drive inclusive growth by committing to advance economic growth and opportunity.
I got a good feeling. Yeah, I'm up on the cloud, ain't coming back down. I got a good feeling. Yeah. Yeah, I'm up on the cloud, ain't coming back down.
I am so excited to talk about you, your work, what you're leading, because I am totally impressed, enthralled at the mission of Impresia and what you're aiming to do in the community. So welcome.
Thank you. It is such an honor to be here. Oh my gosh, I'm glad you invited me to be on your couch.
Absolutely, absolutely. So before we get into Impresia though, talk to me about how you decided to spend your career in finance. Where did that come from?
Oh my gosh, it's so many people say they're accidental bankers. Like many, I'm an accidental banker.
Oh.
But once you get into it, it is the best career. It is so much fun. I remember back I was probably a few years into working at the bank, and I had about 3 years experience, and I was, starting to get promoted a bit, move up, and somebody had said about what you wanted to do next, and I realized that I had the opportunity to go out and actually be with people, and as soon as I was out of the back office and out with customers, and I thought, what an amazing career path, and I've never looked back.
What was some of your early lessons in banking that you still hold dear and close to you today?
Well, I think it's always about, I'll tell you personally, and then I'll tell you about what I've learned from people. So personally, it was put in the hard work. It was things like, I went at night school and got my life insurance license and said, okay, now I'm prepared, I can do this. And I was about 23 at the time. And then going out, what I never knew, and no one ever tells you, bankers are often the foundation and the cornerstone within a community. And as soon as I thought, this is so much bigger than what I even realized that it could be. And so you're out volunteering, you're out being on leadership positions of local organizations, and it just opened up because that's where everything comes together. So, I've just had the gift of meeting so many amazing, fun people.
When you said that banking is the cornerstone of communities, I thought about that because I was just like, you would, you don't think about it in that way oftentimes, but there's a lot of, as I've gotten older and in the work that I do outside of the show, you learn how much opportunities there are for banks to also engage in community. So can you talk to me a little bit about what that experience has been like from the time you were 23 to now? Have you seen that shift?
Yeah, it never really changes, where banking is really about giving people a safe place for their money. But what has evolved is how they do it. So it used to be go to the local branch if you're lucky enough to have a branch in your neighborhood. Or it could be now, though, it's where people have, they learn about how to control their money. And people work so hard, and especially in these days, you have to have access to understanding how it works. And many banks do, as well as us. You're out doing financial literacy fairs, and you're out trying to reach people younger and younger. So what's changed is how you connect with people and how you share that information. Because we know the sooner people understand the power of money, the sooner they understand how it can impact their lives, impact their children's lives.
Yeah. As you're sitting here, I'm thinking back to a special person in my life, right? Because I grew up, my mom would take me to a bank in our community, and I would put $5 in or whatever. And when my mind, it was like, put $5 in, then you have $5. And that's what you go to the bank for. But this woman that I met when I moved to Central New York really sat me down, talked to me about my dreams, this show particularly, right? And talked to me and helped me cultivate a relationship with a bank.
Yes.
And for an African American young girl, that was game changer for me.
As you said, banking is necessary, and so many people, if they're afraid of banks or if they don't have a relationship, they're afraid to walk in the door, they miss this opportunity to be able to be in the system in that way. And it is important because it's something that will eventually, it opens the doors and it allows you to, and it could be things like paying your rent or paying your bills and not paying too much in fees. So that's why it's important from that respect. But on the other side, so many women, and I'll tell you a little bit about the founding of Impressia because it'll make sense, it'll all connect, is that the question was asked, well, why did our bank not have enough women? And this is back the parent company, and they said, well, where's everybody banking? And when they went back and did the research, they said, well, a lot of women just put a little bit in a lot of places. And the reason why is that they don't have that relationship and they don't feel comfortable going and trusting that person.
Right.
So what Impressia set out to do was to redefine the banker-client relationship. So imagine you as a working woman, you don't have time to deal with all this in your regular day-to-day.
Right.
Imagine when you can text and call and say, I know the person I'm texting and I need help.
Yeah, and you build that relationship, because part of the historic is like, well, if you don't have, then you can't have opportunities. And what I've learned through this person that I cultivated a relationship with, Jody, she helped me gain the confidence to ask questions, to walk in and know that, this is what a business line of credit is. Now, you may not be able to get it right now, but you can work towards it, right?
Exactly.
And this is the path. And I think what you're doing as president of Impressia, right, is you have the opportunity to make those connections. So let's take a closer look. Impressia Bank is opening its headquarters in the Electric Tower in downtown Buffalo. Let's take a look now at how this space will provide women with access to financial feminism.
I met Angie Wilcoxon when she interviewed me in Cleveland. And she sat across the table, and I had researched, so I knew who she was, and I knew she was a real powerhouse, and there's not many women that lead commercial bank in the country at financial institutions. And the depth and the quality of the questions that she asked, and then as we talked and she told me about her vision for the bank, absolutely blew me away. And I thought, there is nothing like this that is truly being built. And it's not taking the existing products, services, experiences that are offered and saying we're going to make them pink and send them out to people and say we're designed for women. And Angie said, no, we are here to create meaningful, lasting change that truly powers the local economies. So the mission of Impressia Bank is to close the gender gap of financing for women. And I believe it's well researched and studied that the gender gap in terms of earnings is real. And generally women earn about 83 cents on the dollar. However, the good news is that many, the next generation of women are already closing that gap, and it's upwards of 90 cents, which is fantastic. But the downstream impact of that is that over time women have less savings accumulated. It often could impact their credit. And so what's different is that we understand the broader picture, and we take that into consideration as we're determining how we can help them. And when the division was started for Impressia Bank, one of the deciding factors was where would we be able to succeed? And looking at the data, there are so many entrepreneurs in each of these areas. So when you look at Western New York, and when you look at Erie, Cleveland, Columbus, you can see the investment that's happening, and you can feel the change. So to us, it seemed like the best possible decision. We said this is a great place to be, and long term, there's such great talent that's in the Western New York region. It seemed very obvious, and we're thrilled because we are about to open later in the fall. We'll be opening our headquarters here in the Electric Tower. What we're really excited about is this is going to be a multi-purpose space. This is going to be a place for the Impressia bankers to work out of and to serve clients individually. It'll be a place for us to have conversations, educational seminars, networking events. And I believe that what we will have is the ability for people, and I don't just even say women, people to say there's a safe space that is designed just for this purpose. And I'm thrilled that we're going to have our doors open. People will be able to come to our location and be able to get the support that they need. But I think what the real lasting impact will be for our community is that Buffalo is vibrant and strong, and it is a beautiful fabric woven together of community organizations, really strong businesses, entrepreneurial people that are really focused on creating change and driving value for the community. And I think it's just going to be one more addition into what's available here for people. So I'm absolutely thrilled that we'll play a part. In 5 years, I would love to sit with you and be able to have a conversation that shows the thousands of women, and not just women, but people that we were able to help. I would love to tell the stories of people that had a vision and a dream, but weren't quite exactly sure how to get there. And together with the advice and guidance and collaboration, they were able to find a path to get there. And then our legacy isn't going to be the legacy of Impressia Bank, it's actually going to be the legacy of thousands of people that we helped.
That is fantastic. I'm excited. I want to come and I want to visit the headquarters.
Yes.
I want to connect with the staff because this is such an amazing project. Tell me a little bit about how Impressia comes to be. Angie calls you. Like, how did all this come together? It's such a fantastic concept.
So back in, I'd say it was probably early 2022, new CEO comes in, he goes on a listening tour, he sees all these amazing women leaders, looks at the bank's, book of business, and this is for CNB Financial, and says, well, why don't we have more women? And then so a team, he has the head of customer experience, Leanne Kassab, she pulls together a group of women, they start listening, they have focus groups, they look at the data, and then they said, well, no bank is really doing a great job for women. Here's what we think. So this group expands. One of the women in it is Angela Wilcoxon, who's our Chief Commercial Banking Officer for CNB Bank. She's one of the only women to hold this role in the country. She's one of the only African-American women to hold this role in the country. Oh, wow. She was just named a Crain's Woman of Finance, which is a very prestigious award. So this group together comes and they say, what could we do? They report directly to the board of the bank, and they build the framework. And I joined then in April when Angie, and we're approaching our 1-year anniversary. When Angie interviewed me, we were sitting in a conference room in Cleveland, Ohio, and it's a boardroom, and she asked me questions, and she'd go, and write them all down. And I thought, I'm not doing very good. And at the end, she said, would you like to go to lunch? And I said, yes. And so that was it. And as soon as I met her, I said, I want to learn from this woman. Yeah. But she's deeply committed to, in an ethical way, rethinking how women have access to money.
Yeah. I was recently at an event on Tuesday I was hosting, and they talked about the growth of women entrepreneurs since the pandemic, since 2020, and that the largest growth almost in that hybrid entrepreneurial sector are women. Yes. Not just women, but also women of color, right? And the question has been, okay, well, how do we get them the resources that they need to really unfold and fly?
We have found, there's so many resources that are in every community. And what's neat is that we have Buffalo, Rochester, Erie, Cleveland, Columbus are some places that we are. Every community has different strengths and different services they provide. So what we're trying to do is find where there's a gap and say, this is where we can help. Through these conversations and people find out about what they're doing, they've asked to join, and they said, we would love to be a part of this. I'll give you 2 examples. One I am so excited about. It's a newly announced nonprofit here in Buffalo, founded by Brenda McDuffie, who's the former CEO of the Buffalo Urban League, founded it. Yes. And it's called the Black Women's Wellness Village of Buffalo. And what they've done is they said they want to radically challenge how healthcare is provided to women of Buffalo. They're going to focus by starting to offer a new facility and solutions that's going to be based in East Buffalo. Oh, wow. Yes, it's so exciting. And they're working together in a collaborative nature with other nonprofits in Western New York. And I'll tell you, with the leaders involved in this, and they came to Impressia Bank and were able to be their bank of choice, which is a great honor. And then down in Erie, Pennsylvania, and this is more of the entrepreneurship side, we were introduced to a wonderful woman named Kyra Taylor. Kyra is the CEO of Erie's Black Wall Street. And it was
Erie's Black Wall Street.
Yes, in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Erie, Pennsylvania has a Black Wall Street.
Yes.
I'm going to Erie too.
You
We're
have
gonna do a
to,
whole
yes,
tour.
you have to meet them. And what they've done is they started during the pandemic, and they said, let's support each other. And what it actually grew into now a sustainable nonprofit. They connect and encourage African American entrepreneurship, but more than, I believe it's about 80% of their partners and people that are involved in it are women. And so that's why they said we want to be part of Impressia Bank, and so we get to watch side by side, see how we can help support them in their growth.
That is, I mean, I'm sitting here listening to you and I'm genuinely getting excited because one, I think to find spaces as a woman, right, like this space behind the woman, we try to cultivate as a space to talk about what could impact our lives, right? And so I'm sitting here listening to you, hearing these new names. I'm like, okay, I gotta find these spaces and meet these women. But I'm imagining the impact that Impressia could have and the model that it can set forth about how do we do things differently, right? How do we take the idea of finance and banking and really create structures that better support and engage all people?
And we're a federally regulated bank, so the doors are open to everybody. But everything that we do, though, is inspired by what would a woman need. Okay. What we find is when we start those conversations and build trust, say you're a woman that's starting a business, or you've been in business for a while, which we often find, and they have a need, and they know they need money to grow their business, but it's so hard to A, take that risk, or B, because of perhaps the pay gap. They took some time away to raise children. Their earnings are lower, therefore they qualify for less, and it's this terrible cycle. So what we're trying to do to rebuild or reimagine what banking could be is when somebody has a financing need, we don't just offer bank debt financing, meaning a bank loan to fill it. We look at what's out there and then we say, here's everything that you're potentially eligible for, and we even put it on our website. So we have New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio resources. You can look and see what is the grant money that's out there. What are trusted third-party advisors? So if we can't help you yet, we trust these people, they can help you get there.
When you go home at night, after a day, you go home to your family, what are some of your thoughts about what you did today?
Oh, I love that question. So I'm married, and then with two smaller children, middle school.
Okay.
And we do, because there's sports and everybody's running, we don't always get to do the kitchen table conversation, but we do it a couple days a week. And we'll do favorite part of your day. Okay. And you go around and say, what was your favorite part of the day? And the kids still play along, they'll still do it. But I mean, the stories though, I will share the stories and say, I talked to somebody today, oh my gosh, like she blew me away. Like just conversations about what people are doing, and it's building businesses, it's taking risks, it's having a dream and working so hard nights and weekends to make it happen.
And hopefully when you get to the favorite part of your day around the table, or if you're in the car commuting back and forth, you think about where you were at 23. Did you imagine yourself here?
You know what? I did not imagine myself here, but I always had very big dreams of what I wanted to do. Okay. When you think about behind the woman, and you might feel the same way. It's not you. It's your husband. It's your parents. It's your in-laws. It's everyone around. Your friends. I can't even tell you my circle of friends, and whether the ones that are here in Buffalo or in other places, and they're so supportive. And I think that connection, and that's what enables any woman who succeeds to be able to succeed.
Yeah, I said to someone the other day, thank you for being here, because you can't pinpoint the moments or instances that someone sometimes pushes you to the next thing, or how it informs your decision making. Like, you're just going through life, right? But when you think back, like even behind the woman, when you say, how did you get here? There's a whole slew of women that showed up at restaurants and conference rooms at some banks in Central New York, right? That were like, let us help you imagine. And it's so important, I think, for when we talk about behind the woman, right? And we think about Mary Kate, and you talk about like what, outside of your title, outside of Impressia, like what's what helped you get here, right? You mentioned Angie and these other people that see you and like connect to you, and how it propels you forward.
Yes.
You know,
when back it was in November, we had an event here in Buffalo. So we do a lot of we do large events, but we also do some small, like coffee and wine type of conversations. And instead of standing up in front of everyone and giving a presentation, I had some members of the steering committee were with me. They were in town and we had a little offsite, and I asked one of them, Carla, to stand up. And I said, Carla, instead of me telling how the bank was founded, why don't you tell everybody? And she actually started to cry. And it wasn't that she was crying as a sign of weakness. She said, this is not even a legacy for me. This is that now we're helping all of these women, and whether it doesn't even have to be a woman that owns a business, it could be a woman that is building herself up after a divorce, or it could be a woman that is an executive and she said, I am all in, I'm going to put everything in, but I got to make sure I'm set for my retirement. And I don't have a husband or anyone else to depend on. And Carla cried and she said that, and she said, this is going to be something that will last. And I mean, and that's the most beautiful way to say it.
It sounds wonderful. Like, I'm just like, I want to spend a day with Mary Kate Loftus.
Please join me. Yes,
Because I could only imagine. And I guess for me sitting here, like, this is part of like my dream. I think I envisioned it as a young person, but I think about the opportunity. Behind the Woman, there's some episodes, we're going to sit down and hopefully we say that, other folks listening will be inspired. I'm just thinking about all of the women that I know, all of the men, all of the people that I know who have dreams, who wish they had a Mary Kate Loftus or a Carla or an Angie, right, in their communities, to help them figure out how to navigate the world of banking, how to build the confidence in asking for what you need. And so for the folks that are home, that are watching, that may be like, wow, this is amazing. I don't have that relationship with the bank. What would you encourage them to do?
I think whether it's with us or it's with another bank, you find your people. And you be clear and say, I'm in this for the long haul. Let's do this together. The right people will respond to it and will help you find solutions. You'll know very quickly if you email or call your banker, and if they reply quickly, this is someone that's paying attention to you and cares about you. And if they don't, then say, I need to find my person. The other thing is to set goals. So like you just said, I had a vision. I knew what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure how I was going to get there, but I knew if I was aiming in the right direction, it would come together. And financially, women have to do the same thing and be able to very clearly imagine the life you want to live and all elements of it. Well, what does it mean from a money perspective? And then go to a banker too and say, this is what I'm thinking. How can I get there?
Right. It seems really simple, right? But I think the important thing that you said is keep calling.
Yes.
Right, that the person that you're supposed to work with is going to respond back.
Yes.
Right, and I know we get bogged down with emails, but but you keep trying, because I think a lot of times when you're walking into banking institutions, sometimes it's very intimidating. I mean, I think the cultures of them have changed a little bit from the old marble big spaces, but to feel comfortable. And I think it's wonderful to know that you all are out there and doing the work. For another young Mary Kate or Rashida, whoever, or Chelsea that may be watching, that's looking to you and saying, hey, I want to be a part of that, what would you tell her?
I would say you have your plan and you go for it. I think with any career and any, if you're looking at whether it's building your company and saying, I want to be a part of that, or it's doing the work in for your own career, like do the work, have a plan. For anyone that's looking to join us, all they have to do is go to our website. It's a beautiful website, and we're actually going to be launching soon, if it's not already there by the time everyone sees it, inspirational stories with advice from entrepreneurs saying, this was my challenge, here's how Impressia helped me, and here's my advice for you. And if you want to connect, you reach out to me directly. So we're creating a new way to connect in community. But I would say you just have to go. You have to do it, raise your hand, and take action.
Raise your hand and take action. I'm raising my hand and taking action. Thank you, Mary Kate, for joining me this evening and sharing how you're leading Impresia Bank to meet the financial needs of women and people. If you would like to view this episode again or past episodes of the show, go to wcny.org/Behind the Woman. Join me here next time for the season finale of Behind the Woman, where I'll be joined by artists, past cast members, and 3 CEOs. My name is Dr. Johanna Rogers, and on behalf of the Behind the Woman team, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful night.
This program is brought to you by the members of WCNY. Thank you. JP Morgan Chase is proud to be a corporate sponsor of Behind the Woman. JP Morgan Chase, building on investments and helping to drive inclusive growth by committing to advance economic growth and opportunity.
I got a good feeling. Yeah, I'm up on the cloud, ain't coming back down.